Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your hurricane outlook and discussion for Wednesday, the 13th of June, 2018. Let's start off with something that you don't see very often, and that is this map. How about that post-tropical system heading up into New Mexico? It'll be a remnant low, probably barely discernible, even in the 850 millibar vorticity fields. Nevertheless, here is Tropical Storm Bud, moving closer to the Baja. It's weakening rapidly. Will bring rainfall, some choppy seas, gusty winds from time to time. Just kind of a stay indoors and chill out kind of weather for Cabo San Lucas and vicinity. But a little bit farther along in its track, some of this heavy rainfall across northwest Mexico and then into the southwest U.S. could be problematic. It just depends on where it happens. And really, if there are any convective processes involved. In other words, if you have a heavy thunderstorm that dumps 2 or 3 inches of rain in a short amount of time versus a more widespread showery kind of regime, that makes a big difference. And you folks out there in the desert southwest, you know all about that. So just keep aware of this. It is not a significant, life-threatening event coming up like we saw a few years ago. The potential was certainly there, especially with Odile. Odile made landfall in the Cabo San Lucas area, came up the Gulf of California, and it looked like it could really set some historic precedents for Tucson. Luckily, it didn't come to pass, but that was a big rainfall event, and it was preceded by Norbert just a couple of weeks before, which did result in some loss of life in the desert southwest, unfortunately. So we do take these things seriously when they occur. Bud, mark my words, will not be the last time we see such a curve back towards the U.S. I worry about it when they come up along the side of the Baja and then curve in like that, where they are spending more time over water, and especially later in the season when the water temperatures off the coast of the Baja are warmer. And that typically happens in an El Nino year, and we're really not in an El Nino pattern just yet. So looking at the Atlantic side, this is Invest 91L. Not going to be a big problem at all. Practically no chance for development. I think the 20% chance down the road is being generous myself. It just doesn't have much going for it. Strong upper level winds, which I'll show you on a satellite view in just a moment, are really going to keep this thing in check. Now here is the GO16 visible loop from weathernerds.org showing Bud, a very well-developed cyclone, no doubt, but it is moving over cooler water, and that is robbing it of its energy, and it's not able to produce the deep convection, and it's weakening. It's just gradually being malnourished, basically. That's what it comes down to, and so it'll thin out in its structure, and it'll be a lot more just of a low-level swirl. But there's still enough moisture with this very large envelope of circulation and vorticity. Its presence in the atmosphere does generate weather, obviously, and that'll all be moving northward over time. And we'll continue to track it until it's over New Mexico. I think that'll be interesting to see, so let's stay on top of it. And then, of course, here is 91L, and, I mean, look, strong upper-level winds clearly coming in across the system, and it's linear in its shape. I don't see much evidence of turning. You see some of these outflow from the thunderstorms collapsing, just nothing really to worry about, except it is a big moisture source, and this too bringing some inclement weather to parts of the northeast Yucatan. So here too, Cozumel, Cancun, luckily Belize looking pretty good. So, some high clouds coming over and just your tropical air mass thunderstorms. But in the northeast part of the Yucatan, the resort areas there, you also have my permission to just stay in and chill out, all right? And all that implies. So looking at the Twitter today, I like to scan Twitter from time to time and see what people are talking about, especially those that are in the know. You try to avoid those, obviously, and that's the good thing about social media. You can choose, you can filter who you see. And so if you don't want to see people posting stuff that is without context, then just don't follow them. And I certainly take advantage of that. And one such source that is very good is, of course, National Weather Service Brownsville. And this system 91L does have some impact. So only a 20% chance of development from their tweet today over the next 5 days, and higher rain chances into early next week. With increased surf conditions, it's easy to agitate the Gulf of Mexico, so that'll generate a higher risk of rip currents, and that too can be life-threatening. So we don't want to completely dismiss this as being a 100% non-event. There will be some impacts, but those impacts are not going to be substantial. If we zoom in, they mention how it's disorganized, and the upper-level winds are just not significant enough in the favorable sense for development, and minor impacts to deep South Texas with mainly an increase in rain, and of course the possibility of some rip currents. And that will hold true for the most part as well right up the coast of Texas. Corpus, Houston, Galveston probably tweeting similar infographics here, these messages. And it's important because no, there's not going to be a hurricane, not going to be a tropical storm. I'm probably violating my never say never rule. But in this case, I'm 98% sure. That's close enough, right? That's statistically 100%. Close enough. You round it up. And so, you folks along the Texas coast, be mindful that this is out there. It's a large weather system, and it could cause some problems if you're not aware. The heavy rainfall threat, not too bad, fortunately, for the Gulf Coast. A few inches here and there, but nothing. If you made it through Harvey, I don't want to say you can make it through anything, but this will not be like Harvey, okay? This will get in, get out, and won't be a big problem. But there will be some heavy rain from time to time. Make sure you use your radar apps that you're plugged in with your local officials. There's my printer doing printing things in the background. Sometimes I think that ghosts come in and print stuff while I'm sleeping because I get these printouts. Anyway, story for another day. Yesterday it was cats. Today it's that creeper from the other picture the other day in my office printing things. In the Southwest, it's just amazing what can derail you sometimes. In the Southwest, let me get a color that'll show up better. What should we use? Brown? Yeah, brown works a little bit. Mostly northwest Mexico, but then look, pretty good precipitation for Arizona. It's not like this whole area is going to be covered in almost an inch of rain, but this is the potential here. There's enough moisture in the atmosphere that eastern Arizona, mainly southeast Arizona, a good deal of the northwest part of Mexico, New Mexico, and Mexico proper, down here, could see some decent rainfall, and that could help bring temperatures down. You need the rainfall, just not too much at one time. I'm a little concerned, though, about up here in Colorado, and especially up into Wyoming and through the Rockies. You get some of this added moisture and some thunderstorms, people hiking, camping, and enjoying the beautiful outdoors. You can get some major flash flood events. So my advice, if you're heading up into the Rockies, please be very mindful of the weather conditions, because in some of those steep valleys and canyon areas along streams, creeks, and rivers, you can get massive flash flood events, even if the storm formed and dumped rain several miles away upstream from you, and it's not even raining where you are. So just something to watch for. Be careful out there. The rest of the tropics, nice and quiet, as we expect this time of year. No big deal at all anywhere else. And that's it. Nothing else to talk about. No reason to drum up something when there's nothing there to drum up. Be sure to tune in and check out tomorrow's video. I have something very special that I'm going to do, and I think you're going to like it. And it's something that I'm going to try to build upon. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to tease it with that. All right? Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Thanks, as always, for checking in. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. I'll be back with more for you tomorrow.